Hello everybody, welcome to episode 3 of our solo RPG adventure where I have no idea what I'm doing. Now, the last 2 episodes I made characters, these 4 intrepid explorers that we have here. I talked a little bit about the setting I was going to use and the kind of mechanical ideas I was going to work on. Reminder, this is going to be a science fiction adventure using the role-playing game Traveller as inspiration. And if anybody is curious as to which specific part of Traveller, because there's many editions, for any reference points or any just ideas that I get lost in, I'm going to be using the rule set, zoom it up a little bit, Cepheus Faster Than Light. This is a completely free rulebook. You can find it on DriveThruRPG, and it is, Traveller for all intents and purposes. So yeah, so if you want to follow along or you're curious about it, it's here. I am butchering this severely. Cepheus is being used as inspiration. That's a really key point to make because there's a lot of things I'm changing. Traveller's a system I know very well, so I'm happy with kind of where I sit with it. Anyway, I won't delve too much on what's already been done. Last session we figured out that we were working for the Scouts. The Scouts being an organisation that do a lot with exploring, courier work, surveying, and I felt it was a really nice, they do a lot of contracts, and I felt that was a really cool hook, a very easy hook for our intrepid explorers to kind of do stuff without adventure hooks being arbitrary in any way. So yeah, lots of exploring, lots of surveying, lots of kind of a bit of couriering, and maybe some mercenary work in there as well as like a rogue final piece. We rolled 3 quests, and the 3 quests that we rolled, we picked one of them, and the one quest that we decided on was to find and recover an artifact, and a ship needs to be found and an item recovered, and we rolled a random planet. And the random planet was planet 6 that the ship is, the ship was last seen at. And then we basically rolled some stuff to figure out exactly what we were looking at. So it's a research ship of a certain size, and I'm going to be treating this like a dungeon crawl, and that's what we're going to be doing today. So it has so many rooms, the environment that the ship landed, the ship landed on the planet, and the environment that it landed in was this, like a hot environment, bushland. And then that's where we ended the session. And then between last session and now, I did a little bit of admin. I thought, you know what? I'll just do a little, traveling from Planet 4. We're based at Planet 4 here. Planet 4 to Planet 6, a little hop. I'll just do a bit of admin and we can kick things off. Unfortunately, it never goes that easy. So my thought was that every hex that we travel through is 1 day of travel. And my thinking was that, well, for every day of travel, I'll roll a dice, and on a d6, something happens, like a random encounter, or like a radio signal comes through, or I get some news, just something, absolutely something. And of course, I rolled some 6s, didn't I? So I ended up generating them, and this is where we're kind of going to take our day. So at the area in space, the first day of travel, the area in space between the 2 planets, something happened. And what I did here was using these sheets, which I've talked about previously. I think they're linked in a previous video. I'll try to make sure I link them in the description of this video. There are some traveling encounters on the right-hand side. Now, these are all themed on medieval fantasy adventure, so it doesn't immediately transfer to sci-fi. But we can adapt. We can make it work. So I thought, let's roll on these traveling encounters and make it work. So I rolled an 8, which was a small camp of hunters. Now, of course, you can't get a small camp of hunters in space. That's not a thing. So I thought, well, it'll just be another ship. We pass another ship in space, an independent ship. By the description here being a small camp of hunters, they're not soldiers. So it's not going to be a military vessel, but they are armed, and they maybe have their own purpose and intent. So I was thinking mercenaries, maybe like a little mercenary group or just an independent group. And they passed near us. And then underneath this section, there's another dice roll to see how they behave towards you. And they stand and threaten us. And I honestly thought that I was going to do a spaceship combat on the first day of travel on our way to our quest. And so they threatened us. And I was thinking, well, how on earth are we going to deal with this? Like, how do we measure threat? So, in order to determine how heavy or how severe the threat was from this little band of mercenaries, on this really helpful piece of paper, down the bottom we have a reaction table. This reaction reads, in fact, I'll bring it up here because I don't think we've looked at it before. Down the bottom here, we've got, it's a D6, helpful, curious, indifferent, wary, rude, and hostile. So obviously there's a spectrum here between hostile, which would probably be open conflict, and then kind of indifferent, which would just be, they don't have the time of day for us, they're just rude, they don't they have no intention of talking to us and being friends, right? But helpful is against threatened, so I just rolled 1d6 plus 1, because then our options will be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and if we get obviously a 7, then I'll just put hostile again. So I rolled 1d6 plus 1, and I got indifferent. So I thought, whoa, good. Well, we've avoided open conflict. But what this means is that maybe we were flying on a certain course that would have come close to this ship, and the second we were in sensor range, they opened up and they said, they didn't open up weapons. They opened up communications and said, look, change your course. We don't want any business with you. Don't get any closer to us. Redirect yourself. And so I feel there was a little bit of verbal altercation, perhaps, and maybe some threats, but we had no business. They didn't want anything to do with us. So little nicely avoided there. And then we got to the planet. Day 2, we arrive at planet 6 for our quest. And of course, I rolled again to see if there was anything interesting that happened before we arrived. And of course, something did. 2 6s in a row. I was, of course the story's going to pan this way out. I rolled again on the travelling encounters, and I got which one did I get again? Procession of Refugees. And I had no idea how to interpret this, so I got a cup of tea, and I kind of stewed on it and thought about it a bit. And I rolled on the, reaction table, and they were rude to us. Not hostile, but rude. And this kind of opened up a question for me, which was that we've just encountered 2 ships now that dislike us, or have been, indifferent, rude, threatened, whatever. And I think that's because we're in the Scout Service. So I talked about this before, where the Scout Service are this kind of, they're not a government organisation, but they're obviously a powerful entity that is kind of very passive. Maybe they don't take sides, they just do courier work, exploration and surveying, but they obviously are quite involved around solar systems. And I wonder if there's this underlying idea that people don't like scouts because scouts could do more with their money and do more with their time and people, but they just don't. So maybe there's this kind of this what's the word I'm looking for? Just kind of passive frustration with the Scout Service. So we can build on that in the future, but I thought that might be an interesting thread to start pulling. That by sheer nature of us being in the Scouts, there are some people that just don't like us. So the thing I wanted to ask first was, right, there's refugees here. A ship, potentially, like a ship full of refugees that maybe dislike us because we can't help them, or we refuse to help them, or we're on our own mission, right? We're doing something else. They ask for help, and we go, well, no, we're a tiny scout ship. We can't assist you. So that's probably why they were frustrated with us. But the big question I wanted to ask is, were the refugees leaving the planet or arriving at the planet? Because this starts to play into a really interesting angle where you may remember one of our characters, Fiona, was an academic that got drafted. So there's a conflict or humanitarian, like how the military sometimes get deployed to help with humanitarian efforts. Maybe there's something like this going on. And it was a 1, 2, 3. I rolled the dice and it was 1, 2, 3. They would be arriving on planet 4, 5, 6. They would be leaving planet. I rolled a 5. The refugees are leaving planet 6, and I'd like to know why. I think it's important that we figure out why. And so this is where we're going to be starting our little adventure, or rather, figuring out the first steps of our adventure at least. So there are lots of ways that refugees can obviously, well, refugees exist. And so one of the things that I wanted to put down was, it's kind of two broad categories, but I wanted to figure out, was it conflict related or environmental related? And I think from that, there are then like subcategories we can build. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put refugees, question mark. So, and then we're going to do 1 to 3 is conflict related. And 4 to 6 is going to be environmental. Probably spelled that wrong, but never mind. Right. Oh dear. Why are the refugees leaving? A 4, it's environmental. Okay, so we got a 4. Now, I think we need to potentially build on this. So we're going to invent 6 options of environmental reasons why people would leave. So, or like non-conflict might be a better way to do it. So let's go with, let's go big. Let's go volcano. Massive volcanic eruption. Let's go with tsunami. Let's go with earthquake. 3. Oh, sorry, that's I've already done 3. Number 4. Let's do economic. Maybe like the market has crashed in, and there's like a depression going on, like the kind of the Great Depression. Economic, political. Maybe these people are fleeing a new leader, and whilst it's not conflict related, maybe there's maybe like a new person has come into power, and so a lot of people don't like it, or people have been displaced, that kind of thing. Now, what do we do for number 6? We got tsunami, volcano, tsunami, earthquake, economic, political. What could 6 be? Do we just want to put political a second time? There are probably some of you are probably screaming at your screens now because I can't think of a 6th option. I might do political a second time. Volcano, tsunami, earthquake, economic. What else? The reasons could be refugees. Yeah, let's just do political a second time. I feel maybe there's a. It keeps it simple, and I think it's also this is a good example of if people want to do their own solo RPG stuff. I don't see any reason. Just kind of put random stuff in. You don't need a perfect 6 different choices. You can skew it a certain way. You know, let's keep it easy for ourselves. Let's keep the game going. So we have our environmental reasons, and we roll a 1. Volcano. So there is. So a massive volcano has erupted on the planet. Yeah, huge volcano has erupted and displaced a lot of people, so that's why these refugees are leaving. And I wonder if there's some animosity towards the scout service because maybe scout ships didn't turn up to help, or maybe scouts didn't, you know, survey the volcano, something like that. You know, I'm sure people can invent reasons as to why they don't like the scouts. Cool, so that's why refugees are leaving the planet. That's fine. I kind of wanted to check. The reason why I wanted to do that was because I wanted to make sure there wasn't a conflict running at the moment. If there was a middle of a full-blown conflict, that would have made things very difficult. So, that is the scene set. And we are now going to land on the planet and check out this ship, which is all very, very exciting. I asked a couple of questions earlier as well about this missing ship, using like a 50-50 of yes-no. Has anyone scouted the missing ship before? I got a yes. So that means that maybe what I'm interpreting with that was that maybe the original organisation checked out their own ship, found it, and realised that they didn't have the tools to check it out, and so that's why they called in the scouts. And then I asked the question, was the ship seen at its designated landing area? And I got a yes. But I thought we'd go for not in one piece, so it is a wrecked ship. So we can kind of play with that. I thought it might be interesting. Let's do the ship. So we're going to land on the planet. We're going to land in the area. Now, because we don't have to search for the ship, I'm not going to do a like little hex crawl where we kind of try to explore the area, because we already know where the ship is. We know what's going on. We're going to go straight into the dungeon, assuming, obviously, that kind of we know what's going on. So here we go. This is good. This is brand new for me. I've never used these sheets in order to generate a dungeon before, so we will explore this together and see what we find. Now, if I recall correctly, first things first, we need an entrance. I understand, obviously, this is going to create a dungeon or a cave or a mine or something, but through the power of imagination, we need to believe that this is the interior of a ship. So a lot of the discoveries we make, a lot of the hazards that we encounter, we're going to re-theme to make it ship-related. This is where our little creative imagination comes in. Now, let's go with entrance. So we've got a couple of shapes at the start here. Oh, dear. Oh, that's a 1, I guess. I'm going to do this in pencil to make sure I get this okay, and then we'll put it in pen afterwards. So I guess we'll start here. Do this. Okay, so we're probably entering through, I'm thinking like an airlock of some kind, because I'm feeling we're coming in, and there's a door here, which I imagine is obviously, this is the airlock door, and then it's like a corridor going off to the side. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. So let's write down here. Let's do airlock. Cool. Let's try and figure out door. What is this door? So there's a little chart down here. I'll just show it. First time we've encountered it. Door here. Is it unlocked, locked, or trapped? So let's find out. A 4. It is locked. Okay. So I think we're just going to have to beat our way through it. Duncan, as a part of our crew, has got a toolbox and is kind of mechanically inclined. Also, we've got Drint, who's like got a bit of engineering experience. So I think the two of them are going to start working on the door. Probably not. We're probably not going to try and crowbar it open. We're probably going to try and like reconnect it in some way and try and like either hack into it or find a way of like playing with the mechanism. So let's do a dice roll now. In Traveller, it's all about the target number is 8. That's kind of the universal target number. You roll 2d6 plus a modifier, and you're trying to get 8. I think, what have we got? We've got someone who's skilled with mechanics. We've got another person working on it who's skilled in engineering. We've got a toolbox. I'm thinking each of these things gives us +1, but this obviously will take a bit of time. So, oh yeah, we probably need to think about time increments as well, don't we? That's an interesting thought. How long does this take us? Because this might be a concern. So before we go any further, let's go kind of let's do entering the ship. Now I saw someone else do a little grid to help dictate the time, and they did a really clever thing. So they did a 4x4 grid, I think. And then every time you did something or there was a time increment, that was your kind of like check for something to go wrong, right? That's when you check for a random encounter. So let's try that. 4x4 or 5x5? I guess we'll do 4x4. Let's just see what happens. As I said, I'll learn about this as I go. If anyone has any comments on this kind of thing, I am all ears. I'm purely copying what I have seen elsewhere, and I am open to kind of the reasons why. So what we'll do is we'll do a 4x4 grid, and then every other time increment we will roll for a random thing. So here is our grid. So we've arrived at the entrance, and we'll say that's free. So we are now, instead of going into the next area, we are now spending time on the door. So I'm going to say that we have... Oh, is it? We've got Duncan with his mechanic, and he has intelligence as well. So let's say +2. Yeah, Drint's engineering maybe doesn't help. Yeah, let's say Duncan's doing this. And it's 2d6 +2 looking for an 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. Bang on. Exactly what we needed. Okay, if we failed that wouldn't be a problem. So, I'm just going to do that. Cool. Okay, so that's the first area done. We are now through the airlock into the ship proper. So let's now explore the next area. So we're now going to go... Do you want to go left or right? Let's go left. We'll go left. Now let's figure out, is that we're going to find a corridor or a room. So there's a D3 section here. 3 to 4, it's this middle column. So it's kind of a sort of corridor roomy thing. And a D6. 5. Cool. So we discover a... What is this? It's like a little... a chamber. Let's get the ruler out again. I'm not entirely sure... Does size of room matter here? I don't think size of room really matters in this particular game that we're playing. So, like, I don't need to worry about the grids of certain areas. So what is this? So what did I say? It was this. Bit of corridor, and then it expanded out, and then back in again. Okay. So this is the area. Now, there is a door here, and a door there. Okie dokie. So, that is the space in this. So we're now in this room. So now, like, a random thing occurs. So in addition to whatever's in the room as well. So we're gonna double whammy this. So how do we determine this? I think we do explore. Oh no. So because we've crossed the threshold first, we will do a danger. Let's do a danger. Now the danger here has got hazard, trap, encounter, and then monsters. And I don't think monsters will be as relevant. Whilst monsters can be anything, you know, we can reskin it as like a rampaging crew or like a robot or something. I think I want to make hazards and traps just as dangerous as everything else. An encounter as well. Is encounter? Oh, encounter is that? Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make. I'm going to do hazard, trap, encounter, monster 1, monster 2. So that's what we'll do. It's a hazard. Okay, so that's the kind of for our first threshold, we discover a hazard. Now, what is the hazard? Let's find this out. So we've got a little hazard thing here in the top right. 3, vapor. Ooh, so I think is this where the sheet? So it's a hazardous vapor. Okay, I don't think the sheet expands on it anymore, but I think this fits really well. Like noxious gases, it could be like CO2 being pumped into the room, or any kind of, I don't know, even like hydraulic fluid there's a burst pipe, and so it's kind of vaporized into the air. Just horrendous. So there is hazards. So we need to annotate the room. So let's say this is room 1, and on the sheet here I will put 1. I'm going to put hazard, vapor, and we'll figure out exactly what that is in a moment. But we also need to then explore the room. So, oh, well, actually, that's a point. Do we explore the room? Because the vapor might stop us. Do we notice the vapor? I think that's probably a big one, because the vapor could be anything. Let's use... I mean, I'll just roll probably once for the party. 2d6 plus 1, I think. Yeah, 2d6 plus 1 probably seems appropriate. And we'll figure out if anyone gets an 8 or above. 5, 6. Yeah, I did say 2d6 plus 1, so that's a 7. So nobody notices the vapor initially. So they wander into it. Now, we have our characters. So we have 4 characters, so we'll get a d4. Who gets affected by the vapor? Luckily, our characters are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, that's Drint, the data analyst. So Drint gets hit by the vapor. I haven't really figured out what it does yet. So what does the vapor do? I wonder if next time I'll figure out what the vapor does before I assign it to somebody. I think Drint takes damage, I think. How severe is the vapor? We will do... There is a sheet somewhere that actually determines degree. So here we have a little chart, and degree is like 1, 2, 3 is small, 4, 5, 6 is large. So is this a big or a small problem? It's a small problem. Okay, so that was going to decide if I was going to do 1d4 damage or 1d6 damage. I think that might... Or is it 1d6 and 2d6 damage? How gnarly am I feeling for environmental hazards? I think 1d4, 1d6 for small, large. I think that seems fair enough. So Drint's going to take some damage. 3 damage. That knocks his hit points from 4 to 1. So yeah, maybe like as they're entering, there's like a I want to go with like there's hydraulic fluid, but from a pipe that has burst or like has got a tiny, tiny hole. So the high pressure fluid is being like sprayed out as like a really fine mist. And no one really notices it. But as they're kind of spreading out around the room, maybe it's only spraying in a small area. And maybe like the lighting is bad. And as everyone is spreading out around the room, Drint walks into this and it hits him right in the face. And this kind of noxious, like burning your skin, like carcinogenic hydraulic fluid sprays all over him. And takes him down to 1. So I realised as well, something that we didn't clarify was what happens if someone hits 0 hit points. And the thing that I am tempted to do is that all characters can go to potentially a minus. So I think if a character gets to 0, they're fine. But if a character gets to they can go to -6 because it's a d6. Why not? But if a character is at all at -1, -2, -3, -4, -6, all of their stats get completely ruined, and they are wounded, and we'll worry about wounded later on. But if they get to -7, that's when they are completely dead. So we have this kind of spectrum between functional and then heavily wounded in the minus numbers, and then -7 is where they are gone. So that's what I'm thinking with HP, because I think it might be cool. We can do then like injuries and like critical injuries and that kind of stuff. Anyway, bit of a tangent. Let's carry on exploring this ship. Unfortunately, Drint has walked into something quite bad. So we are carrying on with the room. We now need to explore the room. So we have a little explore chart here of nothing, omen, discovery, or danger. It's a 2, so it's an omen. What do we find? So there's a little D6 option here. I'll just bring this up in case you can or can't see it. So we've got blood, tracks, voices, odor, corpse, or knocking. All of these I love. These are all sci-fi. These are very sci-fi. Let's have a gander. What have we got? A 3. Voices. Oh, there's people still alive in this ship, aren't there? Or are they bandits that are raiding the ship at the same time? We'll find out. Either way, there are voices. Voices can be heard, and we'll note that down. But we don't know where they're coming from. There are 2 doors here. Let's roll a dice to see which door we hear the voices coming from. Which direction? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, so they are coming from I'll put north. Up here, so they're coming from the north. Voices, brackets, north. Cool. Is there anything else that I think we should consider in this room? Let's have a look. Is there anything? There's like descriptions. Oh, maybe I could have done a bit more with descriptions, I think. I've only just seen this section here that talks about like dressings, descriptions, history, that kind of stuff. We won't do it for this room. We'll do it for the next one. So, where are we going to go next? So there are voices. Well, we can hear voices going north, and so I think we should go that way. We should figure out what's going on, because remember we are here to figure out a what's the word I'm looking for? We need to find an artifact, right? We need to find something. I am curious as well as to how special rooms work. I need to figure this out. Do we discover? Oh, when we do a discovery. Okay, cool. That's fine. Right. So that's that area done. Now we're going to go into the next area. So I'll just mark off the thing. Mark off the timer, I guess would be a good way to put it. Now what have we got? 1, 2, 3 for type. It's a room, so it's one of these. And it's a 5. So it goes, it's like a bit of a dog leg. So it goes, let's use the ruler a little bit. So it goes up, then a bit of an angle, and then a room kind of branches off that. Here we go. Okay, this is quite fun. Now it's important to think, like, are there voices in this room? Let's figure out from the things that we discover first. So we are exploring the room. Is there anything else we want to do beforehand? I might not have my order of operations completely set out for dungeons, but we're going to kind of explore this as we go. But I think this is correct. I think we do an explore dice first. Cool. Yeah, let's do that. Explore. A 3. A discovery. Right, what are we discovering? So we have a chart here. A 3. A feature. Where are the features? Okay, so we have a feature list in the top right, and it's obviously dungeon-based. It's pool, garden, river, obelisk, lever, or mist. We'll sci-fi these, it's fine. 6. Mist. So, luckily, I don't think this is hazardous. Let's roll a dice. On a 1, this is a hazardous mist. Whoa! Okay, good. So, room number 2, we'll just write this down. There is a mist in this room. So yeah, what did we explored? Explore, mist, not hazard. Okay. Oh, I need to put down actually hazard and not hazard, because I feel if we go into this area again. Okay. Very cool. And I guess we keep adventuring. So we've explored the room. Let's check out the dressing. Man-made, mystical, ritual marks. I'm just trying to think if there's, what can inspire us to go through these angles, through all these charts. Odor, odd, mystical. Yeah, let's do dressing. Let's go for... In fact, actually, you know what? We're going to ignore the dressing for now, because otherwise I feel things will get a little bit bogged down, and we'll explore it in the next dungeon. So, are we going to carry on our adventure? I mean, we still hear the voices. The voices are still somewhere to the north, we think. So, let's go through the door. Is the door locked or unlocked? A 1. It is unlocked. Oh, I didn't even check that one. That was... cool. We'll say that was unlocked. 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 Cool. Right, what corridor or room are we looking at? We are looking at a middle column and a 5. Ah, again, same type as room 1. So it goes up a little bit, and then it expands out into a chamber where there's then rooms either side. So I think what I could do actually with going back to the dressing conversation is I could just make, in my own time, make a little sci-fi spaceship dressing in order to assist with future, just flavour. Because at the moment we're in a wrecked ship, but I haven't really done much more with that. So, we are now in the next room, and we have encountered a hazard. So, this is room 3. So, hazard. We'll do the hazard first, before we see if we need to explore the room or not. So, hazard... Where's the hazard? Oh, oh no, there's a danger. Sorry, that was it. We need to roll the danger thing. And it was hazard, trap encounter, monster 1, monster 2. Monster 2! Okay, so... This is where things get interesting, because we're now going to roll an obvious fantasy monster and re-flavour it to fit. So what do we see in here? Now there should be monster tier 2. Okay. So it's humanoid, creature, or unnatural. I think creature or humanoid is probably what we're gonna... I think we're gonna force ourselves onto either humanoid or creature. The reason why I go for humanoid is humanoid can just be a powerful robot, and a creature can be a local alien that's snuck in, or like a local creature that has wandered its way into the ruin before we were there. We are going to roll... is it more likely to have a creature or a robot? I think we'll go 1 to 4 for the robots, and then 5 to 6 for a creature. 5 to 6. It's a creature. So it's a local fauna has wandered in. So I guess... Oh Christ. So what have we got for creatures? We have a combination of a giant bat, an etin, a terror orb, an oozing mouth, a stone golem, or a dragon. This is going to get wild. So I think we can use these as inspiration. I mean, a dragon could just be a, basically think dinosaur, right? Like, a large a large carnivorous lizard, right? And then giant bat can be a small, it's a very small thing. 1d6, let's go. 4, oozing mouth. What could an oozing mouth be? I'm thinking, so it's obviously, you know, we're going sci-fi, we're going an alien thing. Oozing mouth. Let's see if we can do a bit of doodling here. So we've got, it's obviously oozing mouth. I think we're looking at a sentient, like a land jellyfish. That's what I'm thinking of, actually. I'm thinking of a jellyfish on land. Now, I'm aware that the area that we're in, the biome we're in, is a very hot bushland environment. So I think this land jellyfish was part of the research, was on this research ship as like part of their, you know, just kept on board, not as a pet, but as like an animal for study or like a test animal. And then because of the crash, it has escaped. So yeah, so let's go for a land. Let's doodle. Why not? I'm awful at art, but we're gonna doodle. So I'm just thinking of like a Portuguese man of war, but on land. So we'll do a little. It's got a little ridged back. It's blobby, and it obviously has very, very dangerous tendrils coming out. Now someone's gonna have to correct me. Is it venomous? Is that right? Because poisonous and venomous are two different things. I'm gonna think this might be venomous. So I'm thinking, yeah, basically a land jellyfish. That's sci-fi, folks. So there's a land jellyfish here. It's quite dangerous. It's quite big. It could be a problem, but we're going to have to deal with it if we want to advance further into the room, because this thing has now... Ooh! Have we surprised it, or has it surprised us? Oh, that's exciting. I hadn't even thought about, like, combat potential. That's really, really interesting. So, I think we are going to roll 2 dice. Let's see if we get a different colour one. Red dice is obviously going to be for the horrible monster. White dice is going to be for the party. And I think it's just going to be a dice off. I don't think there's any modifiers here that would make things particularly different. I'm going to give us a plus. I'm going to give the party a +1 because I've just had a thought. This creature is called an oozing mouth. I wonder if this jellyfish is making noises that we interpreted as voices from back here. And I think so. So I think as we got closer, the voices got louder, and so we knew something was coming up. So I'm going to give the white dice +1 and the red dice, which is the jellyfish, just a regular result. Oh, look at that. We absolutely surprise it. It's a jellyfish, right? It probably wasn't going to leap from the ceiling on us. Yeah, so we know exactly what it is. Cool. So we have surprised the jellyfish. Bear in mind, this is just the hazard. We haven't even explored the room yet to see what's actually in the room. So we've surprised the monster. I say monster. Surprised the alien beast, and I guess we're going to try and get the jump on it. Unfortunately, we're going to have to stomp on it a bit, shoot it, put it out of its misery. That's the plan. Now, combat mechanics in Traveller it's all D6 based, but something I haven't really thought a lot about. Now, our party has a combination of pistols, stun batons, and rifles. And I'm going to say that all of the pistols do 1d6 damage, and the rifle does 2d6 damage. I think that's probably I think that's kind of close enough. I'm sure we could add like little +1s and so on if we wanted to. I don't think Drint is going to get anywhere near, so we're going to shoot at it first. We're going to shoot at it first and try and kill it. Now, the creature's quite large, right? What did we roll for it? Oozing mouth. Obviously, in the mechanics that this sheet is intended for, it has 5 hit dice. So I think we will... Yeah, I think we'll roll that many dice. Why not? This oozing mouth jellyfish thing has got 5 dice worth of hit points. Let's go. Wah! Okay, so that's 10. 20. Cool. So this thing has 20 hit points. Ooh. Bit concerned as how much damage it's going to do to us, but let's go. So, land jellyfish has 20 hit points. We haven't figured out how much damage it's going to do yet, so we're going to shoot it first. So, who's going to go first? Well, it's a surprise round, so it doesn't really matter. We'll do us first. So let's do Ristal with his laser. 2d6 looking for an 8. 2d6 plus 2 looking for an 8 in order to hit. That's 6, 7, 8. He does hit. So how much? 1 damage with the pistol. Stunning work, buddy. Stunning work. Absolutely killing it. Cool. Next up, we have... let's do Duncan with his pistol as well. He misses. Is Drint going to bonk it? I think Drint is going to bonk it with the stun baton. Oh no, but Drint's actually quite... Yeah, I think Drint is still a bit wounded and a bit unsure. Drint's going to stay back. Fiona, the soldier, is going to absolutely nail it. Yeah, so that's damage, and then... Sorry, that's to hit, and then damage is 2d6. 7 damage. Nice. So that's from 20 down to 12. Right, we've shot the jellyfish. It's gone pop, 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 pop. You can imagine that kind of the hot laser bolt hitting the kind of jelly consistency and the sizzling sound. I'm sure it's probably like got a quite like smooth, wet surface. So there's like a sizzling sound as like any surface water is immediately evaporated. Cool. Now so that's the surprise round done. Now we go to regular combat, and I think we'll do a little initiative off to see who acts first. And I think we'll just do a dice off to see who acts first. The jellyfish attacks this round before the party do. So who's the jellyfish going to go for? Jellyfish. We said the jellyfish has got like horrible tendrils, don't they? So let's figure out what it does first. Again, we'll use this as inspiration. So oozing mouth does 3d4 damage. Am I happy with that? I think so. I think, let's go with what's there. Let's mix up some systems and just make it easy for ourselves, really. Like, we have numbers here. We do have a third d4 here. If I can get it out of my little dice box. Okay. So, it has to hit first. So who does it go for? All of our characters are numbered. So it goes for Ristal, the scandalous merchant. Do they hit? 2d6 looking for 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep. Fortunately, they do hit. Ristal is about to get slapped by a jellyfish. Oh my goodness. 4, 8. 8 damage. Okay, so Ristal goes from 5 to -3. So they're now, going from the conversation we talked about earlier, they are now crippled, we'll say, or wounded, which means all of their stats go to like -1 or -2, I think. Yeah, let's say if they're wounded, they go to -2. I think that's pretty gnarly. We're not here to... There we go. So they are crippled, -2. Oh, does this have a damage over time poison effect? Let's roll the dice. On a 6, it does do a damage over time effect. Oh my god. Why? Why? Okay, so it does. D4. Oh wow, so poisoned. Oh no. Okay, so if we go for like the Portuguese man of war idea, because I think that was the inspiration, right? Ristal is now covered in like horrible rashes. Like there's is Ristal she? Yeah, she's got some horrible like skin rashes. Her skin's burning. There's obviously this like wet goo that's all over her, and like all the little barbs are kind of stuck in the skin as well. So this is horrendous. So I think we're going to do 1d4 every, I guess 1d4. Yeah, we'll do 1d4 every 4 time increments. I think that could you know, every layer we do, you see this kind of got the box thing here. This is our time increment thing. So at the start of every, can I do a little poison bottle? Kind of, because obviously, you know, why not have some fun with some art? And if you're doing this on your own, no one's going to see your art anyway, so there's no problem there. Okay. Horrendous. I don't think Ristal... Oh my god, poor Ristal. Okay. So that's the land jellyfish that has acted. It is now time for the party. So Ristal is struggling. Ristal is now wounded, so -2 every stat. Is Ristal going to try and retaliate? I think so. No, they don't. 2d6 -2, not enough. Duncan. Duncan is going to go... Yep, Duncan hits. So 1d6 damage with the laser pistol. A strong 2. That takes the land jellyfish from 12 to 10. Oh, come on, guys. Right. Drint with the stun baton. Is a stun baton going to do 1d6? I think stun baton's going to do 1d6 as well. I think that seems fair. We can worry about specifics at a later date. Yeah, so is 5, 6, 7. Do we want to give Drint +1 to hit? I don't think so. That might just be a miss. Yeah, because they're not really a speciality. Yeah, they do miss. Just and Fiona. So Fiona has a speciality in combat, so we'll give them 2d6 +1 for this. Yeah, of course Fiona hits with the rifle. Come on, big damage. Let's go. 6. Ah, it doesn't kill it. It doesn't kill it. It's from 10 down to 4. Does this creature have a sense of, like, survival? In which case, is it now going to try and, like, blob away? Because I think it's down to below a quarter of its hit points. I think maybe there's a potential here that it tries to flee in some capacity or, like, hides in a corner or something. So in order to determine that, let's do... I think 1d6. I think I'd like a 50-50 shot, potentially. On a 4, 5, 6, it'll try to run away and, like, I don't know, survive or be stunned or something. Yeah, cool. Right, on a 6. Yeah, so the thing kind of has a sense of survival and sort of blobs away into the corner after getting shot at and tries to kind of retreat. And I think the party will finish it off. But, so whilst the jellyfish is finished off, because, you know, it has 4 hit points left, and the party are, you know, I'm happy to say that, you know, the land jellyfish is done with. How is our party doing? Ristal is crippled and poisoned. I have a feeling that we might have to pull back. So Fiona is a medic. So I think... Hold on a second. Let's have a look. So I'm happy to... So we haven't explored the room yet. This is the big thing. All we did was we encountered a hazard straight away. Now, I think that whilst we put... yeah, I think we're going to use an increment of time to treat Ristal to get rid of the poison. I think that's essential. Also, we can try and... If we try and treat them now, then they won't be poisoned. So I think, yeah, Fiona's going to try and treat Ristal immediately. They're going to get the med kit out. We're not going to explore anything at the moment. You know, Ristal is heavy breathing, struggling to stand, not doing very well. So how do we want the medic to work? I think a successful medic check will remove the poison and like regain like 1d4. Oh, actually no. I wonder if this medic check only removes the poison, and then a future medic check heals. I think so. I think let's make this, let's challenge ourselves. So this is going to be a medic check. So Fiona is a medic. So we start with 2d6. We're going to get +1 because Fiona's a medic. Fiona also has pluses in their education and intelligence. Now, education is book learning. Intelligence is like what's what I'm looking for? like being able to use the information in different ways, like MacGyver. You know, you kind of it's all well and good, like learning how to do something in a book, but when you're in a real world situation, how do you apply it? And I think this situation is going to be book based, because it's an animal attack, it's poison, there's rashes, so I don't think this is going to be MacGyvering. I think this is going to be pure medical knowledge. So I think we're going to give Fiona +1 for medic and +1 for education. So this is going to be 2d6 + 2, and we're looking for an 8. 5, 6, 7, 8! Yes! So, Ristal, whilst struggling a lot at the moment, is no longer poisoned. So we will remove these poison markers to remind us. But that takes up this entire time increment. Because previously a hazard and an explore would have done 1 time increment for a room. Because we've done a hazard and a heal, that's finished that. So we want to explore the room. If we want to explore the room, that's going to take another time increment. And I think so. I think we're going to use the time increment to explore the room as we advance on. So what is in this room? A 4. It's a discovery. A 4. An item. What was the jellyfish guarding? So discovery up here. There's a d6 table. 5. A weapon. Ooh. Okay. Okay. Do we have any inkling of what that weapon might be? Is there any clue anywhere? I don't think so. Cool. So this is a research ship, right? Let's go with, does this weapon do 1d6 damage or 2d6 damage? I think that probably will give us like a thing. So hold on, let's write this down before I forget. So we are exploring, and we found a weapon. If I roll the dice, it's 1, 2, 3. It's a 1d6 weapon. If it's a 4, 5, 6, it's a 2d6 weapon. It's a 1, 2, 3, so it's a 1d6 weapon. A 1d6 damage, I mean. How about another pistol. Yeah, we can go for a pistol. We can give Drint a pistol. So that's a laser pistol. 1d6. Why not? We can. One thing I will do, I think, before next session is I'll have a look at I'll make a little printout of sci-fi weapons inspired by the Traveller rulebook, so I can reference those later. But this is fine for now. What I want to do as well to remind ourselves of this combat is I want to put it's like, what did the beast do? Because when I look back on this, I want to remember. So poisoned Ristal. Cool, stunning. So our party has regrouped. We've dealt with this oozing mouth, this horrible thing that was voices, making noises that we interpreted as voices, as we expand further into the Black Raven, the ship. So yeah, the Black Raven, this kind of research vessel with something inside that we need to find. I'm going to call it quits there, for the moment at least. I think this is a cool moment to pause. And next session we will carry on with our exploration of the dungeon. If you have any comments, please let me know. I'm brand new to this. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm interpreting this, I hope, in a reasonable way that isn't too wild. So if you have any comments on how to refine it or suggestions and ideas, please let me know below. I'd love to hear them, and I look forward to catching you next session. All the best.